Hi, this is Jedi Steve, and I'm here with Kelly.
Hi, Yat A, Shea, Kelly Concho-Hays and Jedi, A Nasht Ejdene, A Ha Kodene.
Why'd you introduce yourself like that?
Well, that is my Indian way of introducing myself. In the non-native way, my name is Kelly Concho-Hays. I'm red running into water, which is the Navajo people, and I'm also Acoma and Zuni. So for the Navajo people, we always introduce ourselves maternalistically, which is our first clan. So my mother's main clan is red running into water, and she's the Navajo person. And then the other two is that I'm born for my dad's tribe. So for my dad's side, I also introduce my dad's mother's clan first, which is the Zuni people, and then I say I'm born again for the Acoma people, which is my dad's dad, so my paternal dad.
Got it. So it's a cultural thing, and I noticed you use the word Indian, which I would assume is what you call each other. You call yourselves, and then Native American is the term that's the general term out in society. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it just really depends. So I sometimes when I say Indian, everyone says, "Oh, it's Indian with the dot," but it's actually Indian with a feather, which is kind of like a running joke. So I have 3 girls, which it makes it a little bit more understandable to them. But I also work with a lot of Native communities, villages across the United States, including Alaska, as well as the islands in Hawaii and Samoa as well. So it just really depends. Some people like indigenous, some people like Native American Indian, Native American. I think the preferred term that people use a lot on the mainland, I guess I would say, is indigenous. So it just really depends, but it doesn't bother me any.
So more importantly, is the culture, how the culture is affected, because that's one of the things when somebody wants to break a certain amount of people down, what they do is they go after the culture. So how do you feel that and you're speaking for a lot of different ways, but how do you feel is the Native American culture has been broken down, and how do you feel over this time? I want to know is like, what are the best steps to move in the right direction?
So our culture has been broken down over centuries and centuries. Obviously, with the colonialism, and then when you bring in the religious aspect of who we are as Native people. Where I grew up, I'm originally from New Mexico, so I grew up on my mother's reservation, which is the Navajo. But even for the Navajo people, which is they have the largest reservation of any American Indian in the United States, covers about 4 states. But I also spent a lot of time in my dad's 2 other communities, which are Acoma and Zuni. So I spent a lot of time there. But I'm pretty much what you would call an urban Indian. I grew up the majority of my life living in big cities, traveling all over the country as well. But also I was taught and I was brought up speaking our Navajo language, which is my mother's main tribe. Growing up on the land, I grew up with no running water, no electricity, no indoor plumbing, no indoor heating. The first time I ever had any of that was when I went away to college up in Montana. So, but I was always taught to everything surrounding you has a spirit. And we honor that spirit. We honor our house that covers our head. We treat them as though they are all living things. So we feed even the people that have gone on before us every morning. Every time we have a meal, we break the food and we give that to our spirit. So the culture per se doesn't necessarily have to be taught in the way that you were brought up. Because honestly, the funny thing is, I actually just had a conversation with my husband yesterday about we are never going to be one to live 100% fully off the land anymore. We're going to have to adapt. So being able to adapt is I can butcher a goat, but I'm never going to do it here. But I'm willing to teach my daughter. So the culture still lives on every day. We give our offerings through our cornmeal, which is important for our Pueblo people. Like I said, we feed our spirits before we eat every time. And then just being able to teach the girls the importance of being able to implement the language, not 100%, but to identify the bigger things through our different languages. So like I said, I speak a little bit of Navajo. I speak a little bit of Tewa, which is my husband's tribe. I'm learning how to speak some of the words in Acoma, which is my dad's tribe, and then I'm learning to speak a little bit of my dad's mother's side, which is the Zuni side. So being able just to embed those little things, I think, is what's important right now, because right now with my dad's generation, which his part as an urban Indian is that he went to a Catholic school, so every day he was told, you can't speak your language, you can't be native, you got to cut your hair, you got to do your prayers, you got to do all of these offerings, because he went to a Catholic school. Because my grandmother was put in a Catholic boarding school off the reservation in New Mexico. So having that as like a fourth generation, trying to reteach my dad and even my uncles and my aunts what it means to be native, because now I feel like as my generation and the generation of my daughters, it's really about reclaiming who they are and how proud they are. Because even when I was going to school in high school, it really wasn't like proud as it is today.
So a lot of times people don't notice the importance of culture because lots of things are put into our memories and lots of things are developed over years and years and years. And we come into this world, I believe, we come into this world with certain memories, negative and positive, and certain things are put in place to sometimes hold us back. That's why there's a lot of fear of change sometimes, but also to progress us forward. So when the culture was taken away, would you is what you're saying is that there's some of it has been regained in the last certain amount of years?
I would definitely say a lot of it has been regained. If I think back on my grandmother's generation of my mom's and my dad's side, my mother's side, my grandma and my grandpa, they were born on the Navajo reservation. When my grandpa was born, he was born in 1912. He wasn't even considered a citizen of the United States. So he wasn't until he was 4 until he was deemed a citizen of the United States. So even that, to know that, that was my grandpa, and then him being able to teach our family the way of the silversmithing for the Navajo people has been recently retaught. So now my dad's generation, which is his generation after, is being able to teach it. But now I'll be honest, I don't know how to silversmith. I watch him, but it's really about understanding the importance of why we should have continued to keep our language alive, our culture, even the way we dress in our traditional dresses, the way we tie our moccasins, our belt, how we tie our hair. Everything has a purpose and everything has a meaning. So really trying to embed it into our younger generation, who I think, is always on the phone or always in front of the TV. But how are we going to be able to utilize those platforms to reteach them a lot of, especially the language, which I feel is really important.
Got it.